Right now, there's something major brewing around Kendrick Lamar, and trust me, most people haven't fully caught on yet. Behind the scenes, Kendrick, Dave Free, Baby Keem, and rising artist Amani Armani appear to be putting together something that feels far bigger than a routine rollout. Over the past day alone, we've seen a wave of hints, promises, and subtle teases that suggest a much larger vision is taking shape. And if you've been sleeping on what pgLang has been building, you might want to wake up fast because the temperature is about to change. If you're one of the people constantly scrolling for updates, get comfortable because this story is only getting started. From supporters to critics, pgLang is quietly pulling everyone's attention into the same conversation, and the momentum is already impossible to ignore. Before we go any deeper, if you believe Kendrick Lamar stands above Drake as a rapper, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and show some love. And if you've already done that, then you're clearly paying attention to what's unfolding. Because whether people want to admit it or not, a lot of the evidence speaks for itself. Seriously, how can anyone keep dismissing this at this point? The deeper we look, the more it becomes obvious that Kendrick Lamar wasn't exaggerating when he hinted that every detail mattered in the Squabble Up video back in 2024. Think about it for a second. This is the same artist who teased a project years before it was supposed to arrive, hiding clues inside a #1 record that are only now starting to click into place. And when you realize that Kendrick may have been outlining pieces of his 2026 vision on an album released in late 2024, it only reinforces why so many people view him as one of the most calculated and creative minds hip-hop has ever seen. What's even crazier is that these details become incredibly important once we connect them to everything happening right now. But before we dive into the major hints Dave Free has been dropping and the bigger picture that seems to be unfolding, it's important to understand just how active pgLang has been lately. This has easily been one of the most significant weeks we've seen from Kendrick's camp as a collective movement. And if you use GNX as a roadmap for where Kendrick wanted to take things, a lot of these moves suddenly start making perfect sense. Right now, Kendrick looks like someone who has mastered more than music. He's learning how to build a sustainable creative empire where artists can thrive, make meaningful work, and still stay true to the vision that brought them together in the first place. No shortcuts, no gimmicks, and no compromising the mission. And if that's really what he's accomplishing, then a lot of people in the industry should be paying attention, especially when so many other artists are being criticized for lacking control over their own careers. That's why this moment feels much bigger than another album rollout. It feels like the foundation of a long-term dynasty finally coming together. Every key piece appears to be finding its place, and the people around Kendrick are starting to step into their own spotlight. That's why I have to give credit to Amani Armani and everyone involved in her debut project, because this rollout was genuinely refreshing. It's rare to see a new artist introduced with this level of confidence and clarity. Instead of announcing a signing and then making fans wait endlessly, they revealed the artist and delivered the music almost immediately. That's smart. That's how you turn curiosity into momentum. And now that people are listening and connecting with the music, she has exactly what every new artist needs: real attention. Believe it or not, that's something a lot of labels still struggle to create naturally. Some people are already trying to discredit her success or frame everything as manufactured, but that's usually what happens when an artist starts gaining traction. This is what authentic momentum actually looks like. From here, her audience will continue to grow through conversations, recommendations, and people genuinely enjoying the music. That's the kind of support that lasts because it comes from real listeners rather than temporary hype. This doesn't feel like a trend that's going to disappear next week. It feels like the beginning of something with staying power. And when Dave Free publicly embraced her as part of the pgLang family, that sent a message to everyone paying attention. It wasn't subtle, it was a statement. He made it clear that she belongs within the core vision of what the label is building. Because of that, every release, every appearance, and every conversation surrounding her is likely going to attract even more attention moving forward. We've already seen that progression begin, and it feels like we're watching the first chapter of something much bigger. I wouldn't be surprised at all if eventually she ends up on a future Kendrick project. In fact, that collaboration almost feels inevitable. I can't prove it today, but the signs are definitely there. More importantly, though, this shows that the creative ecosystem Kendrick, Dave Free, and Baby Keem are building extends far beyond a single artist or lane. Amani Armani feels like an important new addition to that vision. She brings a completely different energy while still fitting naturally into the larger picture. Together, that combination has the potential to create an entirely new wave. And after publicly showing support for Amani, Dave Free immediately shifted attention toward another key player in the camp, Baby Keem. That wasn't random either. It felt intentional, because while Amani is stepping into the spotlight, Keem is also making major moves of his own. He's actively putting himself back in front of fans, promoting his work, and reminding people why he's considered one of the most creative artists of his generation. The interviews, appearances, and conversations he's been having lately have given fans a much deeper look into who he is as both an artist and a person. He even opened up about periods where creating music became difficult and shared parts of his journey that we hadn't heard before. And honestly, it's great to see. It feels like Keem has reached a point where he's comfortable sharing more of himself with the world. Between the touring, the interviews, and the growing media presence, he's making one thing very clear. He's back. But more importantly, he's preparing for something even bigger. He's already promised fans that he won't disappear for years at a time again. And that's where things start getting really interesting, because there's growing speculation that another Baby Keem album could arrive sooner than people expect. Nothing is confirmed yet, so take it carefully, but Keem himself has repeatedly hinted that new music is on the horizon. What's exciting is that he sounds incredibly hungry right now. Much like Kendrick, he seems driven by competition and motivated by greatness. He's openly talked about wanting to reach the highest level and compete with the best. And if that's the mindset he's carrying into this next chapter, then expectations are naturally going to rise. If his previous work represented one stage of his artistic evolution, then the next project could be the one that takes everything to another level. Based on the confidence he's showing and the way he's talking about the future, it wouldn't be shocking if the next Baby Keem album ends up being a massive moment for hip-hop. No matter what Baby Keem or Amani Armani decide to do next, one thing has become crystal clear. Kendrick Lamar and Dave Free have accomplished exactly what they set out to do. They've developed these artists, strengthened their positions, and in Keem's case, successfully reintroduced him to the spotlight. Because both artists have consistently shown talent, growth, and star potential in their own unique ways, the foundation has already been laid. The relationship with Keem obviously goes much deeper because of the years they've spent building together, but the result is the same. Right now, one of the strongest fan bases in hip-hop is watching closely and waiting for the moment these artists fully break through. Whether it's Keem becoming one of rap's biggest names or Amani establishing herself as a major voice in R&B, the anticipation is already there. And that's why this moment feels less like a continuation and more like the beginning of an entirely new chapter. It honestly feels like one phase of the pgLang vision has officially ended, while another one is just getting started. Looking back at everything from GNX to the Grand National Tour and the massive run Kendrick has been on over the past year, a bigger strategy starts to reveal itself. It seems like the mission wasn't only about elevating Kendrick's own legacy. The goal was also to make sure the artists around him were rising at the same time. Keem needed to prove he could still dominate as a recording artist, draw crowds, and remain a major force in music. And judging by everything we've seen, he's done exactly that. At the same time, Amani Armani was being positioned for her own breakout moment, planted as the next major creative voice capable of bringing fresh energy to modern R&B. Now that both of those boxes appear checked, the door to the next stage has swung wide open. And if you want proof, Dave Free may have already shown us exactly where things are heading. After spotlighting Amani's rise, showcasing pieces of the creative process, and giving Baby Keem his flowers, Dave Free shifted everyone's attention somewhere else entirely. He subtly pointed fans toward Kendrick Lamar, and the way he did it was incredibly interesting. Take a second and really think about this. The post wasn't some huge announcement or elaborate teaser. Instead, it was a tiny clip lasting barely a fraction of a second that showed Kendrick simply smirking. That's it, just a quick expression. But when Dave paired that clip with the matching smirk emoji, fans immediately started reading between the lines. Then, things became even more interesting when he followed it up with visuals that appeared to feature either a refreshed pgLang logo, a redesigned brand identity, or some kind of symbolic transition into a new era. Suddenly, people began connecting the dots. To many fans, these weren't random posts. They felt like breadcrumbs leading towards something much larger. Add in the cryptic artistic content Dave has been sharing recently, and it's easy to understand why speculation has exploded. Because if Dave Free is publicly highlighting all three cornerstone artists connected to the pgLang vision at the same time, that doesn't feel accidental. It feels coordinated. It feels like pieces are being arranged before a major reveal. And while digging deeper into what all of this could mean, I've come across additional reports and industry chatter that make the situation even more intriguing. In fact, some of it may help answer one of the biggest questions surrounding Kendrick's future plans. According to information reportedly shared through tourism and event-related sources overseas, details may have surfaced regarding Kendrick Lamar's schedule for 2026. The information suggests that fans should prepare for Kendrick's arrival in Malaysia. More specifically, reports indicate that he is expected to headline a stadium show there in October of 2026. And if that information is accurate, it's a massive clue. This isn't just random internet speculation. We're talking about details reportedly tied to official promotional channels, which naturally gives the conversation a lot more weight. Now, let's connect a few dots because this is where things get interesting. If multiple sources are correct in saying Kendrick is actively working toward another album, and Dave Free is teasing a new chapter, and pgLang is clearly moving into a fresh phase with all of its artists becoming active at once, then the picture starts looking much bigger. But there's another important piece people keep overlooking. Remember Kendrick's film project with the creators of South Park? The project that was originally expected much earlier before being pushed into 2026. Reports from major entertainment outlets suggested one reason for the delay was tied to Kendrick's future touring commitments. And if that's true, then suddenly everything starts lining up. Because now we're looking at multiple independent signs, all pointing in the same direction. When you stack all of that information together, it becomes harder and harder to ignore what may be coming next. The biggest name in rap, the artist who continues to dominate conversations from fans and critics alike, appears to be preparing for another major run. While there are still unanswered questions, there is also more evidence than ever suggesting that Kendrick Lamar is gearing up for a significant return. The dates seem to be appearing, the plans are beginning to surface, and the timing feels increasingly intentional. Of course, there are still important questions left to answer. If Kendrick really is performing in Asia toward the end of 2026, does that mean we're looking at an entirely new tour, or is it another extension of the Grand National run? Either way, the message is the same. Kendrick is active. Traditionally, when major artists from the United States add Asia to their touring schedule, it often signals the later stages of a broader global run. We've seen artists like Travis Scott and The Weeknd follow similar patterns in recent years. But Kendrick's situation feels different. The music industry isn't in the same place it was during his last major campaign. Hip-hop itself is in a different position, and because of that, Kendrick has an opportunity to elevate his global profile even further, not just as one of rap's biggest stars, but as one of music's true international attractions, the kind of artist capable of selling out stadiums and commanding attention anywhere in the world. That's the level we're talking about. And while we still don't know every detail surrounding the leaked show information, there's simply too much movement happening right now, too much momentum, too many signals, too many pieces falling into place. And when you step back and look at everything pgLang has built, the power of this collective becomes impossible to overlook.
Which brings us to what might be the biggest clue of all, the thing Dave Free may quietly be hinting at before anyone officially says it out loud. If you've been paying attention since the battle, since the Super Bowl, and since this entire era began, you've probably noticed one major difference about Kendrick Lamar. He genuinely looks happy, and that might end up being the most important sign of everything that's coming next. One thing I've noticed lately is that Kendrick Lamar genuinely looks like he's enjoying himself. The guy is constantly smiling, and even in that tiny clip Dave Free shared, paired with that simple smiley emoji, it felt like there was a bigger message hidden beneath the surface. Maybe I'm reading into it, but I don't think that's accidental. And the more I think about it, the more I believe we're heading towards something nobody is fully expecting. Think about the timing. While Drake currently pushing what many are treating as his major post-beef statement project, Kendrick seems to be operating from a completely different place. In a lot of ways, Drake appears to be building toward a chapter that Kendrick already completed and moved beyond. Now, imagine this. Kendrick returns with an album packed with undeniable records, but instead of being driven by conflict, the central theme is pure joy.
Is confidence, peace, and happiness. That's a fascinating possibility. Obviously, there will still be layers, storytelling, and elite-level lyricism, because that's what Kendrick does. But if he manages to deliver a project that pushes hip-hop forward while operating from a place of joy rather than chaos, that could be one of the most powerful statements he has ever made. It wouldn't just be another successful album. It could completely shift the energy of the conversation around rap music. And honestly, that might be the perfect response to all the constant noise, drama, and attempts to provoke him that we've been seeing over the past year. Instead of feeding into the negativity, he simply keeps evolving. That's what makes this entire situation so interesting to watch. No matter how everything unfolds from here, one thing is obvious. Kendrick Lamar, Dave Free, Baby Keem, and the rest of the pgLang camp are moving with purpose right now. They're creating, building, planning, and laying foundations for things that most people probably haven't even figured out yet. We may not know every detail, but we know enough to recognize that something significant is happening behind the scenes. And with the amount of work that's clearly being invested into this vision, don't be surprised if the landscape changes sooner rather than later. In fact, if even a fraction of these predictions end up becoming reality, the next few years could belong to this collective in a major way. That's why I want to hear from you. What do you think about everything pgLang has been building lately? How do you feel about Baby Keem's return and the direction his career seems to be heading? What are your expectations for Kendrick Lamar and whatever he has planned next? And what do you make of Dave Free's role in coordinating and guiding this entire movement? Also, I'm genuinely curious about your thoughts on Amani Armani, because she's becoming one of the most talked about new names in these conversations. Personally, I've really been enjoying her project Paper Cut. It's the kind of album that works whether you're listening in the car, through headphones, or just relaxing and taking it all in. The more I revisit it, the more details I seem to catch. And if you've stayed with me all the way to this point in the video, I seriously appreciate you. Your support means more than you know. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and help push the video out to more people, because it truly makes a huge difference. And if you want to keep following this story, especially because Kendrick may have already hinted at the direction of this new era through recent moves and signings, then you're definitely going to want to watch the next video. It connects directly to everything we discussed today and adds even more context to where this story could be heading next.